Okay. Judy Feldkar
Yes,
was president of our synagogue during your tenure.
right,
She was recently awarded Israel's highest honor,
right,
the Presidential Medal.
right.
Two things regarding Judy. First, you had to deal with the first woman president of Beth, who wanted women to receive Alyiot. What was your response to her request?
My response to her request, obviously, was that I turned it down. I didn't think. I turned it down, but I want you to know what the reason for it was. It's not so much that I thought that if women have aliyahs, the Judaism is going to die or going to turn upside down. Or if women do have aliyahs or don't have aliyahs, I didn't think it would make that much difference. This whole aliyah project within the conservative movement was part. I couldn't define it then. I couldn't verbalize it then. The big change that was happening was not that there was change in Judaism and Jewish practice. There's always been that, although not as quickly and not as consciously, but it always happened. What was happening here was an un-Jewish change, not because of women, not because of women having aliyahs, not at all. The un-Jewish change that was happening in the conservative movement and the seminary was a substitution for a liberal American ideology instead of Judaism. Okay? So what became important was, hey, what do people value today? Well, the question is, what are they valuing? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Doesn't matter. This is what they're This is what we. So, do women want aliyahs because they want aliyahs? And they could say yes. I mean, it's possible. Come to shul, why not? Or, and which was often the case, they saw this, women having aliyahs, as a promotion of feminism. We're here to promote Judaism, not feminism. Just as someone once said to me, and I won't mention who, but it was a former president, said to me, Rabbi, what you want is not democratic. And I said to the man, listen here, we're not here to teach democracy. There are better institutions in Canada to teach democracy. Our job is to teach Judaism. Okay? So similarly, it's not a question of women having a, does the Torah split apart when a woman goes up to the Torah? Of course not. As my father would have said, are they going to bite you? Of course not. The question will be, why? What is the prevailing thrust? Why do women? I'll give you an example. We have now women counted to the minyan. I know we give it a halachic. It's got nothing to do with halakha. I have to tell you. Because halakha nowadays in the conservative movement is whatever you want to be halakha, you make halakha. So I have no respect for the way it's happening. You count women for the minyan. Good. They come to shul, you can say, why not? Look what's happening. Why is it that a rabbi, who shall remain nameless, both here and Los Angeles, a rabbi of a big, large synagogue, said to me, we're having trouble having a minyan in the morning. I'm talking about a minyan, 10 people, men and women. And the rabbi here said to me, asked me whether in my days too, we found did I find that young people were beginning to drop out of coming to the synagogue. I said, not exactly. Perhaps towards the end, if I had paid attention, maybe I would have said that. And this is despite the fact that there are women being counted to the minyan. What do we have here? Difficulty. We're not sure they're going to have a minyan in the morning. Why Erev Friday night? You have not many people other than people who are saying Kaddish coming to shul. If you had all the people who had to say Kaddish, you would have an enormous congregation. But not that many people are saying Kaddish. I mean, so despite all of that, so now we have homosexuals. I have nothing against homosexuals. They must not be discriminated against, of course. We understand that. And if two men live together, should they have the right to share the financial benefits that are given to a couple? Yes, of course. Do I want them to regard them as married? No. They want to have a marriage. They want to be regarded as married. B'vakasha. That's your privilege. We live in a free country. It's my freedom as well to say this is the way I want to look at it. Okay. So this kind of political correctness that is part of the American, really academic ideology and outlook, that's not for me. Do I have to take it into account? Of course I do. Of course, otherwise you can't speak to people. You don't have the methods to teach people. So I have to see what should I include, what should I not include. Okay? So far, we have not been successful. Take a look. The numbers of congregations in the conservative movement have plummeted. The number of members have plummeted. The number of intermarriages have gone up. The number of children born to Jewish families in the conservative movement, while it's more than the Reform and more than secular, but it's still way below replacing yourself. Which means that the issue of the Jewish people is not that important. We have adopted the rank individualism of the American secular society. And that's deadly. I remember years ago starting on that. So this has been out for 21 years now. So starting on that in my preaching, even on the high holidays. Were I to preach now on the high holidays, I would develop that into a much larger scheme. Not only high holidays, because that is a deadly influence on us. We are wiping out while we have our identity as individuals, and we satisfy that identity, but we are wiping out our identity as Jews, which means that that community, that history of Jews, has a call upon you. If you are part of a community, that community has a call upon you whether you like it or not. If Canada goes to war, it can draft you and me, and we can get killed. And that's the way it has to be. Not only are we individuals, we are also individual cells in a larger body called a community. That's our identity. Not only is me, Ben Friedberg, or you, but my identity is at least 3,500 or 4,000 years old. That's how old I am. I know some people think I'm that old, but that's how old I am. That's how old you are. With that history. And that part is much greater than the individual part. Hillel had it right when he said, if I'm not for myself, who am I? As an individual. I have rights as an individual, and I have to concern myself. But then he said, but if you're only for yourself, if you're only an individual, what are you? You stick around for 80, 90, now it's 100 years, and who are you? Nothing. But if you're part of the total whole, wow, look what we've done. You don't have to die, because that identity lives on. So yes, I think that's bothered me no end.